Welcome back. So here's the question. What are some common examples of Christians violating God's investment principles? And here's my suggested solutions. Common examples of Christian violating God's investment principles, often unknowingly I find, would include the following. Investing in something that you don't understand. Proverbs 19:2 says, "It is not good to have zeal without knowledge, nor to be hasty and miss the way." In other words, it's not good to have excitement or zeal about an investment without knowledge, without understanding it. So often, people lose money when they invest in things that they don't understand. Using debt outside of God's will. God warns of the dangers of debt, and I'll talk more about that later. And number C, not diversifying one's investments to 7 or 8 different categories as a minimum that will react differently to any particular market condition. We'll talk more about diversification and what it means and how Ecclesiastes 11:1 and 2 applies. Number D, making hasty decisions. Proverbs 21:5 says, "The plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty." I would say this, I say this always, if you don't have time to think and pray about any particular potential investment, then don't make that investment. So often people make bad decisions when they make hasty and quick decisions. And point E, investing with worldly motives. I'll talk about that in more detail. Proverbs 16:2 says, "All a man's ways seem innocent to him, but motives are weighed by the Lord." If you're investing in something with a worldly motive such as greed or selfishness or pride, God's not going to bless you. He's not likely going to bless you or the investment as far as that goes. So you need to make sure that you have godly motives, and we'll provide more details on that later. The third point is to diversify your investments. Because no one can consistently predict the direction of any market, Proverbs 27:1 says, "Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day will bring forth." We don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. God does. But because we don't know, generally we need to diversify our investments into several different categories and consistent with, in a way that's consistent with Ecclesiastes 11:1 and 2. Here's what it says. "Cast your bread upon the waters, for after many days you will find it again. Give portions to 7, yes to 8, for you do not know what disaster will come upon the land." "Cast your bread upon the waters" was a metaphorical expression used in the grain trade that illustrated the potential successful prospects of a business investment. In other words, it is within biblical principles to take some risk within one's portfolio. However, diversify your investments because you do not know what disaster may come upon any particular company or any sector. Too often investors, I find, have too many eggs or most of their eggs in one basket. Either they have it mostly in one company, perhaps their employer, or if it's a self-employed individual, perhaps they can have all or almost all of their investments in their company, or they may have all of their investments in one sector. And this can be very dangerous because often when a sector goes down in value or something happens, usually all the investments in that particular sector go down. So I'd say generally, unless God specifically directs you otherwise, and He can in certain limited situations, there is a need for biblical diversification in one's portfolio. Because under normal market conditions, if one category is increasing, or let's say one category is decreasing, often there's another category that is increasing, and it just reduces the overall portfolio volatility and the risk of your portfolio as well. So here's a question. Is the following consistent with God's Word? And this is the mindset or the thinking, which is smart people use other people's money. In other words, smart people borrow to invest. Do you think that's true? Do you think that from God's perspective, smart people borrow to invest? The video is going to stop. I'd encourage you to discuss this if you're in a group. Write down your answer and then click on the next video and I'll give you the suggested solution.